Epic drone shot rising over the Great Wall at dawn, mist rolling through the mountains. Fast cut montage, Forbidden City's red gates, Peking duck being carved tableside, Temple of Heaven at sunrise, Hutong alleyways with bicycle rickshaws, Tiananmen Square lit up at night. You are looking at a wall that stretches over 13,000 miles, built by millions of hands across nearly 2 millennia, guarding the edge of one of the greatest empires the world has ever known. Beijing is not just a city, it is a living museum, a culinary universe, and a place of layered culture. A place where a 600-year-old imperial palace sits in the center of a metropolis of 22 million people. And somehow it all makes perfect sense. Whether you're planning your first trip or your fifth, Beijing rewards curiosity like nowhere else on Earth. In this video, I'm giving you the complete guide, the top attractions that will genuinely take your breath away, a crash course in the history that makes this city so extraordinary, the insider tips that will save you time, money, and a lot of frustration, and the food, oh the food, that makes Beijing one of the greatest eating cities on the planet. Let's go. Beijing is home to 6 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. 6. No other single city on the planet can say that. Let's walk through the ones you absolutely cannot skip. The Forbidden City Palace Museum, golden rooftops, red walls, crowds crossing Tiananmen Gate, Hall of Supreme Harmony, interior details, Imperial Throne close-up. The Forbidden City, or the Palace Museum as it's officially known, is simply one of the greatest architectural achievements in human history. Nearly 1,000 buildings, 9,999 rooms, 72 hectares of imperial splendor, all built between 1406 and 1420 during the Ming Dynasty. For 500 years, this was the center of Chinese civilization. No ordinary person could enter without risking death, hence the name. Tips: book tickets online in advance at dpm.org.cn. They sell out, especially on weekends. Arrive at opening, 8:30 a.m. to beat the crowds. Walk through slowly. The details in every doorway, every painted ceiling, every stone carving are incredible if you actually stop to look. Hall of Prayer for Good, Harvest at Dawn, circular marble terrace, elderly locals doing Tai Chi in the park. A short subway ride south and you're at the Temple of Heaven, the most perfectly proportioned monument in all of China, according to many architects. The Ming and Qing emperors came here twice a year to pray for good harvests, and the complex is surrounded by a vast park where locals gather every morning to do Tai Chi, play cards, fly kites, and practice opera. Get here early. The park life alone is worth the admission. The Great Wall of China, restored battlements stretching over green mountains, tourists walking the wall, cable car ascending through forest, obviously, the Great Wall. But here's the thing most guides won't tell you. Not all sections are equal. The most famous section, Badaling, is packed with tour groups and can feel like a theme park. Instead, go to Mutianyu. It's about 90 minutes from central Beijing, beautifully restored, far less crowded, and frankly more dramatic in its mountain setting. You can take a cable car up and a toboggan ride down. Yes, a toboggan on the Great Wall. It's as fun as it sounds. Aim for a weekday visit in spring or autumn for the best experience and smallest crowds. Kunming Lake reflecting marble boat and pavilions, long corridor painted beams, lotus flowers in summer. The Summer Palace is Beijing at its most beautiful, a vast imperial garden complex built around the shimmering Kunming Lake, with a 728-meter painted corridor running along the waterfront. Every ceiling panel decorated with a different scene from Chinese history or mythology. Rent a rowboat on the lake, walk to the marble boat, climb Longevity Hill for a sweeping view. Give this place at least a half day. Red lanterns, incense smoke rising, monks in saffron robes, giant 18-meter sandalwood Buddha. The Lama Temple is Beijing's most important Tibetan Buddhist temple, and it is absolutely stunning. Inside the main hall stands an 18-meter tall Buddha carved from a single piece of white sandalwood. It holds the Guinness World Record for the largest such statue. Come on a weekday morning when incense hangs thick in the air and the chanting of monks fills the courtyards. It's one of those places that creates a genuinely spiritual atmosphere regardless of your beliefs. Narrow alleyways and gray-tiled courtyard homes line the hutongs, with bicycle rickshaws and locals hanging laundry. There is a small noodle shop tucked between the walls. Finally, don't spend all your time at the major monuments and miss the hutongs. These are Beijing's ancient alleyway neighborhoods built around courtyard homes called Siheyuan. They are the soul of old Beijing. The areas around Nanluoguxiang, Gulu, and the drum and bell towers are the best for exploring. Get lost in them. Eat at a hole-in-the-wall restaurant. That's where you find the real city. But to truly appreciate why Beijing is the way it is, why it's built the way it's built, why the Forbidden City exists, why the Great Wall was necessary, you need a little history. And trust me, this is the kind of history that reads like the most epic TV show ever made. Archaeological site illustration, ancient Zhou dynasty map overlay human settlement in the Beijing region dates back over 700,000 years. Peking Man, one of the earliest known human ancestors, was discovered just 50 kilometers southwest of where we're standing. The city as a political entity, however, begins around 1045 BCE, when it served as the capital of the state of Yan during the Zhou dynasty. It was called Ji back then. A small but strategically important city at the crossroads between the northern plains and the steppes beyond. Painting of Kublai Khan, Mongol cavalry illustrations, old maps of the Yuan dynasty capital fast forward to 1215. Genghis Khan and his Mongol armies sweep down from the north and obliterate the city. His grandson, Kublai Khan, would later rebuild it from scratch as Khan Balik, the Great Khan City, making it the capital of the largest contiguous land empire in human history, the Yuan dynasty. This is the city that the Venetian explorer Marco Polo visited in the late 13th century and described to a disbelieving Europe as almost impossibly magnificent. Streets laid out in perfect grids, markets overflowing with goods from across Asia, a scale of wealth and organization that medieval Europe simply had no reference for, time-lapse illustration of Forbidden City construction, Great Wall fortification paintings, Ming Dynasty map. The city as we know it today was largely shaped by the Ming Dynasty, which took power in 1368. Emperor Yongle moved the imperial capital here in 1403 and embarked on one of the greatest construction projects in history, building the Forbidden City with over 1 million workers over 14 years, expanding and reinforcing the Great Wall into the iconic structure we recognize today, and laying out the city in a precise north-south axis aligned with cosmological principles. Beijing was designed to be the literal center of the universe, the Middle Kingdom made physical. Qing Dynasty court paintings, photo of Puyi as a child emperor, 1912 newspaper headlines. The Ming were eventually succeeded by the Qing Dynasty in 1644, Manchu rulers from the northeast who conquered China and ruled for nearly 3 centuries. They expanded the Summer Palace, built imperial gardens, and maintained Beijing as the heart of an empire that at its peak covered 13 million square kilometers. The Qing dynasty ended in 1912 with the abdication of Puyi, the last emperor, a boy of just 6 years old who had been placed on the dragon throne at age 2. His story was later immortalized in Bernardo Bertolucci's Oscar-winning film The Last Emperor, much of which was actually filmed inside the Forbidden City. In 1949, Mao Zedong stood on the Gate of Heavenly Peace, Tiananmen, and proclaimed the founding of the People's Republic of China. Beijing became the capital of a new era, though the transformation came at great cost to the city's ancient fabric during the Cultural Revolution of the 1960s and 70s. The reform era that followed brought explosive growth. The 2008 Olympic Games announced Beijing to the modern world. The Bird's Nest Stadium, the Water Cube, a city rebuilt with staggering ambition. Today's Beijing balances all of these layers simultaneously, ancient, revolutionary, and ultramodern, all at once. Understanding that history changes how you see everything here. Every red wall and golden roof is carrying 600 years of weight. Now, let's make sure your actual trip goes smoothly. Tips and tricks time. Beijing is an incredible destination, but it comes with a unique set of challenges that can blindside first-time visitors. Here's everything you need to know before you land. If you eat one thing in Beijing, it is Peking duck. This is arguably China's most iconic dish, with a history stretching back to the imperial kitchens of the Ming Dynasty. A whole duck is seasoned, air-dried, then slow-roasted in a wood-fired oven until the skin becomes impossibly thin, lacquered, and crispy. It's carved tableside into precise slices, a mix of crispy skin and tender meat, and you eat it wrapped in a thin pancake with hoisin sauce, julienne scallions, and cucumber. The two most famous restaurants are Quanjude, a 160-year-old institution with multiple locations, and dadong, which is more modern and widely considered to have the best duck in the city. Book ahead, dress reasonably nicely, and order the full duck for the table. This is a meal, not just a dish. Boiled dumplings in a bamboo steamer, dipping in black vinegar with chili oil, pan-fried pot stickers with crispy golden base jiaozi. Chinese dumplings are the soul of northern Chinese home cooking. Filled with pork and cabbage, lamb and onion, or three mushroom, they're boiled, steamed, or pan-fried into guoti, what we call pot stickers. A plate of 20 dumplings costs about 20-30 yen, roughly $3 for. Dip them in black rice vinegar with chili oil. Do not, I repeat, do not dip them in soy sauce. The locals will notice. Thick, hand-pulled noodles topped with dark fermented soybean paste sauce, julienne vegetables, mixing together jiajiangmian, is Beijing's answer to comfort food. Thick wheat noodles topped with a rich, deeply savory sauce made from fermented soybean paste, minced pork, and aromatics, served with julienne cucumber, bean sprouts, and radish on the side. You mix it all together and eat it as one bowl. It's humble, filling, and outrageously good. Find it at local noodle shops in the hutongs rather than tourist restaurants. Street cart vendors spreading batter on a griddle, adding eggs, scallions, crispy cracker, hoisin, chili paste, folding into a packet. Jianbing is Beijing's breakfast street food, and it is arguably one of the greatest street foods on planet Earth. A thin crepe batter is spread on a hot griddle, an egg cracked and smeared over it, scallions and cilantro scattered on top. Then a crispy cracker laid in the center before the whole thing is folded around a slathering of hoisin and chili sauce. It costs about 8-12 yuan, and it will change your morning forever. Find a street cart near any subway station before 10 a.m. Skewers of scorpions, starfish, silkworm pupae on sticks, tourists nervously eating, vendor holding up scorpion skewer now. Wang Fujing Snack Street in central Beijing is famous worldwide for one reason: exotic street food on skewers. Scorpions, still moving when they go on the stick. Starfish, silkworm pupae, giant water beetles. Now, full transparency, this is a tourist attraction more than a genuine local food culture. But if you're adventurous and you want a story to tell for the rest of your life, it's right here. The scorpions, apparently, taste a bit like chips. I'll leave it at that. Boiling hot pot broth with ingredients being dipped, outdoor grill with lamb skewers, cumin smoke rising Beijing-style hot pot with a rich lamb bone broth is the definitive winter meal here. You dip thinly sliced lamb, vegetables, and tofu into a simmering pot of broth at your table, then dip everything in a tahini-based sesame sauce. It's communal, warming, and perfect for groups. For something more casual, find a lamb skewer Yangru Chuan vendor near the Hutongs or at Ghost Street Guizhou, Beijing's famous restaurant street that stays open until 3 a.m. Cumin-rubbed lamb grilled over charcoal, a cold Tsingtao beer, one of the great simple pleasures of being in this city. Dim sum, noodle soups, and local breakfast spots. Small local breakfast shop, congee with toppings, deep-fried dough sticks, youtiao, with soy milk. For breakfast like a local, find a small neighborhood shop serving congee, rice porridge, with pickled vegetables and a side of youtiao. Long, airy deep-fried dough sticks that you dip into warm soy milk. It costs almost nothing. It's exactly what millions of Beijingers eat every morning, and it's wonderful. Beijing is the kind of city that takes everything you thought you knew about travel and quietly, completely rewrites it. It's too big to fully understand in one trip, too layered to see in a week, and too extraordinary to ever forget. The Great Wall will make you feel small in the most magnificent way. The Forbidden City will make you reckon with the sheer scale of what human beings can build when an emperor commands it. The food will ruin you in the best possible sense. And the hutongs, those quiet alleyways between ancient walls, will remind you that history isn't just in the monuments. It's in the people still living it. You don't need a visa to spend 10 days in China. Most people don't know this, but if you're flying through Beijing to another destination, China's 240-hour visa-free transit lets you stay without applying for anything. That's 10 full days to explore the city. This works for 54 countries, including the US, UK, and Canada. Just make sure your connecting flight qualifies and check the current country list before you book. Phone showing blocked apps: Google, Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube icons with X marks. This is the #1 thing that catches travelers off guard. In China, Google, Gmail, Google Maps, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and YouTube are all blocked. You cannot access them without a VPN. The critical thing? You need to download and set up your VPN before you arrive in China. Because once you land, you won't be able to access the VPN download pages either. Set it up at home, test it, then fly. Use Baidu Maps as an English mode or download AMAP for navigation inside China. QR code payment at market stall, phone tap payment at restaurant China has become an almost cashless society, but not in the way Western countries have. Here, WeChat Pay and Alipay are the dominant payment methods, used everywhere from convenience stores to street food stalls to taxis. Foreign visitors can now link international credit cards to WeChat Pay. Set this up before your trip using the WeChat app. For backup, carry some Chinese yuan, RMB cash. Larger hotels and tourist sites accept cards, but smaller local spots often don't. Clean modern subway car, digital signs in English and Chinese, tap entry with Card Beijing subway system is one of the best in the world. Clean, punctual, extensive, and genuinely easy to navigate because all signs are in both Chinese and English. Get a Yikatong transit card, Beijing's equivalent of the T-Money card at any subway station. It works on all metro lines, buses, and some taxis. A single metro ride costs between 3 and 6 yuan. For comparison, that's less than $1. Use it for everything. Beijing on a clear blue sky day versus hazy smog day, phone showing AQI app Beijing's air quality is genuinely variable. Some days are crystal clear and gorgeous. Other days, the AQI can spike to unhealthy levels. Download the AQI Air Quality Index app before you travel. On high AQI days, consider spending time indoors at museums rather than outdoor sites. If you're sensitive to air quality, pack an N95 or KN95 mask. Mandarin is tonal and genuinely difficult, but locals will be delighted if you try even a few words. Ni hao, hello zxe xie xie. Thank you duo xiao qian. How much does this cost? Wo yao jege wo yao jega. I want this 1 point and say, sesuo zai nali, su suo zai nali. Where's the bathroom? Tai guile, ti guilu, too expensive. Essential for market bargaining. Also download the Pleco app. It's the best Chinese dictionary and has a camera OCR feature, so you can point your phone at any Chinese menu or sign and get an instant translation. Panjaiwan Antique Market, Silk Street Market, vendor negotiating with tourists at tourist markets like Silk Street and Panjaiwan Antique Market. Bargaining is not just expected, it's practically required. The first price quoted is almost never the real price. A common approach? Counter with about 20-30% of the asking price and meet somewhere in the middle. Keep it friendly and treat it as a game. Most vendors enjoy the back and forth. Spring cherry blossoms at the Summer Palace, autumn golden foliage at Ming Tombs. The best times to visit Beijing are spring, April, May, wildflowers at the Summer Palace, mild temperatures, lower crowds, and autumn, September, October. Arguably the most beautiful season, with crisp air and foliage turning gold around the ancient temples and walls. Avoid Golden Week the first week of October when hundreds of millions of Chinese travel domestically. Every major site becomes extremely crowded. July and August are hot, humid, and the busiest tourist months. Okay, we've seen the sights, we understand the history, you're fully prepped for the trip. Now for the section I've personally been looking forward to the most. Beijing's food scene is one of the most extraordinary on the planet, and it is deeply, genuinely underrated in the Western world. Northern Chinese cuisine, which Beijing sits at the heart of, is bold, wheat-heavy, savory, and rich. Forget everything you think you know about Chinese food from takeout menus back home. This is the real thing. If this guide helped you, please smash that like button. It helps this channel reach more travelers, and it genuinely means a lot. Drop your Beijing questions in the comments. I answer every single one. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We post travel guides just like this every week. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Until then, Zaijian, see you in the next one.